Hey guys, here. And it seems the Heels Advocate has to make this video because Maven Hoffman has officially exposed the WWE politic, Triple H, and the way that he's running the company into the ground. This was a great video. I wanted to share my thoughts about this as well. Let's go one by one with the great one.
The first reason I don't watch is just how much the product has changed and resembles a completely different show than when I left in 2005. Now, you might be saying, what do you mean, Maven? It's still professional wrestling, but it's not. These days, it's moved to more of a core product, and it seems like one big, gigantic ad while I'm watching. I mean, a few years ago, I'm watching Rey Mysterio Jr., and Rey, I'm happy to call a friend, so I want to support him. And while Rey's in a blood feud with his son, who is escorted to the ring.
First of all, bro. All right, first of all, when this happened, I was like, ain't no way Dominic Mysterio needs security guards. Like, what is he trying to be, man? Look at that double chin, fam. Ain't nobody is scared of Dominic Mysterio, bro. Come on, are you kidding me, bro? Like, all of these security guards would whoop his behind. But Maven, I mean, that's not his point. Let's go ahead and see what his actual point is.
In chains and irons, we have to watch him dance with the Cinnamon Toast Crunch mask.
Or, right, this happened, right? Or how about at TLC, when there was literally a segment where they were like, El Gran Americano, Chad Gable, he was like, oh yeah, you guys, you know what? Now, I tried looking for the clip, but the Heels Advocate cannot find it, but just take my word for it. In between one of the commercial breaks, it was pretty much Chad Gable standing in front of like this, like special ladder, right? Special ladder. It was like the fireball ladder, right? So this was a ladder that like Chad Gable was standing in front of. And then he was like, tonight, for this historic moment, we need a reinforced, big, strong ladder. And this fireball ladder will do just the job. Not to mention, literally on the briefcase itself, it was sponsored by Cash App. I mean, look at this, you guys. Like, how can you ever take it serious, dude, right? Wrestling as a soul, when it's a bunch of ads on the ring, it's an ad ladder, it's an ad briefcase, it takes away what it's supposed to be. Real. And honestly, look, kayfabe is dead. We get it. I'm so sick of it. Kayfabe is dead. Kayfabe is dead. Kayfabe, yeah, okay, all right. But the point of wrestling doesn't change. The point of wrestling is still the same. Heel versus babyface, you know, and they go at it. That's it. And the ultimate goal is to make it believable. And if it's just a bunch of ads, then it just makes you feel like, all right, this is just a bunch of acrobatics trying to sell Cash App on a briefcase. That's it.
Cost money, and I get that sponsorships are a huge part of the business, but I miss the days when there used to be a quick stack or two ad or a 15-second Starburst spot coming out a commercial. I miss the days when the ring apron was just a blue piece of canvas and not the monstrosity of corporate advertising that it is these days.
I also remember watching Fox SmackDown, the Bloodline, you know, the Final Boss, Roman Reigns, when they all kind of like peaked SmackDown, right? That was the peak time of SmackDown, right? And I was looking, I was like, damn, man, SmackDown used to look so much better. I mean, even like the apron corners was like full LED. I think today it's like just regular like steel or whatever that like that you know it's supposed to be, aluminum. I mean, look, like already, like this is like last week's SmackDown. Immediately, like what is this? Angry Orchestra, Orchid, whatever. Like ad in the middle of that ying. And even like the corner posts, they're not even like lit up, right? So if you look at this one right here and then this one, look at the just the difference in like the map being pale and now it being blue. It's just not looking good, all right? It just doesn't look good at all.
I get it. Advertisements were a part of the business during my day, but these days it almost feels as though the advertisers have a stranglehold and can influence so much of the product. And I'm sorry, but during the match, we should be focused on the match. We should be
and not on the Slim Jim tables, on the metal of the yang. I mean, look, today you have the Slim Jim tables, bro. Slim Jim tables, come on. This is like the prime example here. Like the Cena pipe bomb on CM Punk, one of the best promos he cut in his entire, I mean, the best promo he cut on his heel run. And then you have CM Punk laying there for like 5 minutes straight, and all you can see is just Slim Jim. Or Prime in the background, not to mention Prime. You see what I'm trying to say here? Like, just around CM Punk's face, 1-2 advertisers, man. And like, if you were to zoom out, there was probably like a few canvas ads as well. Like, probably on this turnbuckle right here, there probably was an ad as well. You know what I'm saying? So it is just intrusive, and it just takes away the continuity of the match. Like, because you already know there's got to be some type of advertisement, they got to pull out the Slim Jim table, and they got to see the logo. And I think today, right, you guys, the Slim Jim logo is even beneath, like on the underside. I was watching SmackDown the other day or something like that, bro. There was ads on the underside of the table. Come on, man, the greed. This would never happen under Vince. I mean, look, that Cinnamon Toast Crunch thing was under Vince, and Vince has done, like, kind of advertiser, friendly matches. I think this was also under Vince, the 2023 Royal Rumble. If I'm not mistaken, this was under Vince as well. It was LA Knight versus Bray Wyatt. If you guys remember that match, it was just like a colorful neon match with just like, LA and Bray Wyatt going at, or The Fiend as a sub. So, it's okay, right? With like Drew, like, with Bray, it kind of fits him, right? Pitch Black match. What's the other match? Like Firefly Funhouse match. Look, you can get it. Obviously, Vince wasn't like completely immune to. Hold on, was this even under Vince? Hold on, let me double check real quick. Hell, are you kidding me? The hell? So this was actually not ran under Vince. I thought Vince was gone like after Mania. The hell? I think he came back. Hold on. So, anyways, look, no, Vince McMahon was not running WWE at the time of the Royal Rumble and Mountain Dew Pitch Black match. The creative control was on Paul Levesque. Damn. All right. So here's the timeline of Vince. He officially retired in the summer before the Royal Rumble. Then just weeks before Royal Rumble announced his intention to return to the company. Then he was elected back. Then the Royal Rumble took place. At this point, was still creative. Okay. And then 2023 they sold, and then next year he was gone because of whatever the beep. Anyways, this was still Triple H's fault, so it still wouldn't have happened under Vince. No, but like the thing happened. Anyways, besides the point, man.
Be watching the two competitors in the ring and not have to worry about what neon sign's gonna glow or what they're gonna try to sell me during the match. Now, I just watch a show and I feel like I'm being bombarded with, buy this, watch this, do this, and I can't fully enjoy what I know is one of the hardest jobs in the world, and that's going out and entertaining a live audience and entertaining you, the viewer, at home.
Facts.
My next reason, and I get it, I'm old, I know, but to me, the in-ring product has changed. Now, I in no way, shape, or form am impugning the talent of the in-ring product. These guys are better wrestlers than I ever could hope to be. When I lay my head down on the pillow at night and I dream about being in the WWE, I still don't do the moves these guys do on a nightly basis. But therein lies the problem. When you're so good at something, you want to showcase it. You want to show it off. And when all the moves look like a pre-rehearsed dance and everything just flows so seamlessly one to the next, and you can literally watch them stop to catch, do, boom, get up. It's just a little too much. Now, I know you. I know exactly what you're saying. Maven, you're saying it wasn't like that during your day. Of course it was. Of course.
But it wasn't to this extent. Back in the day, people like Maven in the Attitude Era, when it would come, like when they would actually have a match, okay, it didn't have like maybe 10 spots, right? In today's wrestling, like if you were to watch AEW, Ricochet, Will Ospreay, Zack Sabre Jr., whatever, right? All these flippers or Kenny Omega, I wouldn't say Kenny Omega, but like, those like, fly monkeys. If you were to look at their matches, they gotta have all the spots in a single match, right? Handstand, backflip, hit the ropes, jump, catch, top rope, flippity, outside jump, moonsault. Like I was watching like a match the other day, and I was thinking to myself, dude, you're standing on the apron of the ring, all right, and your opponent is just standing right, standing straight up. Why in the world would you do a moonsault? It doesn't make any logical sense for you to do a moonsault. First of all, you're on the apron. You're not even on the top on the top turnbuckle. If you're on the apron, wouldn't it make sense for you to just do like a drop kick or like, drop an elbow, Superman punch, something realistic that would actually happen? But no, they do a moonsault, and then like the opponent is standing there waiting, for them to do the moonsault so that they can catch him. It just takes away from everything. It really does take away from the flow, from the continuity, from the swagger of the match. When they kept, like for example, Maven, right? When he was wrestling, like the biggest spots that he would do is maybe like a cross body off the top rope, or like a super high drop kick, or like a top rope drop kick, and that was it. You know, I was watching a match the other day, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Vince McMahon, and the match opens up, bro. Like the crowd is already on his feet before the bell rang. Right? Everybody was just hyped, ready to go. Electric. The bell rings, Stone Cold. He walks over to Mr. Vince McMahon, and he opens the can of whoop ass. 1 punch, 2 punch, 3 punch. What? Stop, 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 stop. You know, like it kind of felt like an actual brawl that you would see in a movie or like something at a bar. It was realistic, right? And then when they would maybe jump out of the ring or do a flip, I was like, oh my God, what a stark contrast. But today's matches, prime example, Rey Fenix, he was wrestling, okay? And he does like so he jumps up on the top rope, and then he does like old school where he walks on the top on the top rope, and then he jumps on the top rope, he bounces, he sits on it, he bounces back up, he splits, he turns, and then he jumps off of the top rope, okay? He lands on his feet. Then he does a flip, and then he does an arm drag. Bro, just, if you're on the top rope, jump off of it and just pull the arm and do the arm drag. All that flippity stuff, it didn't even work. It's just acrobatics just for the sake of acrobatics. But wrestling is not about acrobatics. I mean, all the big moments in wrestling, for example, Mick Foley falling from the top of the cell. Of course, it is an acrobatic, move, right? It is like something athletic. But this is not like athleticism. This is just stuntman work, right? Him just falling down off the top, like, boom, wow, amazing. He didn't do 15 moonsaults while he was landing, right? So, like, the art of wow and capturing your imagination isn't being impressed by Tiffany Stratton's acrobatic background or like gymnastic background. No, of course not. It doesn't matter one bit. Make it believable so that when you do a big spot, it is like memorable, okay?
He had spots set the entire match, but the whole match wasn't a spot fest.
There you go.
2 or 3 spots.
Right, there you go. Listen to him right now.
And of course, for mine anyway, they weren't that elaborate. And if I would have came back after a match where it looked like I was waiting just to go to the next spot the entire time, A, my agent would have jumped my ass. B, Vince McMahon would have jumped my ass. C, I would have gotten backstage and one of my buddies would have told me, yo, it looked too rehearsed. But I was watching wrestling recently and it came on, and I'm not even gonna say who I was watching, but a non-fan said, that looks like a dance.
And that is just a problem, bro, right? Like you watch NJPW and like it was like taken over by the indie guys, right? It was just like a bunch of flip stuff. Like, come on, bro. Like it's cool. Like Zack Sabre Jr. versus Will Ospreay, like hell it was. Ricochet versus Will Ospreay. It was cool for what it is, right? There is a time and place for that. But when you set the bar that high, you have to always match that level. And that level is already the very, very extreme of what you do. You can't perform any better than what you just did. So what is the next step above that? All right, you just gotta, have an aquarium tank. You gotta, put the guy's head in that water. You gotta make him choke. A spike, spikes on a stick, and then you gotta land on a stick. Like just pushing the envelope far and far and far. But in terms of the acrobatic movements, you just can't get any better than what it is. And then you just pretty much cook yourself.
Was their opinion, and this is a person that does not watch wrestling on a regular basis. To the performers, I know the time. I know the work you put into it. And I don't blame you. I just blame a product that has moved in the completely wrong direction. Why? I don't know. And I get it. There probably is a fan base that does enjoy that. There probably is a segment of the audience that's what they tune in for. I realize I'm probably in the minority here, and the take I'm giving you.
Honestly, you're not in the minority, dude. Like, I think you're just saying something that is not popular to say, but we all agree that it is the most common thought process when you see this stuff, right? It's the same logic that I always apply. When you have wrestlers that are not in shape, that look ugly, fat, short, and just look like average Joes, like in no way, shape, or form is somebody like, what's his name, Jack Perry, like an actual star. Are you kidding me, dude? Like, come on, man. Like 25, 30 years ago, you had Razor Ramon. You know what I mean? Put them side by side. That's the difference, okay? So what Maven is saying here is still very true. The art of actual wrestling, for me, my favorite style of wrestling is like Bret Hart, Austin, Bret Hart versus Michaels. My favorite matches were like in that time period, right? Or, you know, for example, the best matches have always been pretty simple. You know, it was just all about the storylines that led into it. And then the in-ring work matched that tone, right? Or, you know, another match I truly liked was The Rock versus Hulk Hogan. It wasn't even that like very long of a match. It was pretty simple of a match, actually. It wasn't that crazy, but just the atmosphere, the build of everything led up to it was awesome. But today, I don't know what it really is. You know, 450 splashes, moonsaults, handstands, backflips. I don't know. I think we've lost the soul of it. And the main reason why all of that is happening is because the wrestlers, the competitors, you know, I'll just talk for the men, for example, here. They've become shorter, weaker, and just less, you know, convincing. Like in the beginning of the video, Dominic Mysterio comes out with like a bunch of security guards. Like, what are you trying to say, bro? Like, leave that to Goldberg or Kane. You don't match that, dude. And then the in-ring work doesn't match it either, you know? So it's just, you know, a whole circle of people that don't fit the description trying to make it something else just because they can't wrestle a powerful style. Like, who today has a finisher like the power bomb? Nobody, because none of the people have power. Even the people that have power, like Drew McIntyre, dude, he doesn't even do a slam finisher. He just does like a bro kick. Come on, man.
Might not be the one you want to hear, and it might not be popular. And I'm sure right now you're going down in the comments to tell me how old, how out of touch, and how out of tune I am. And that's fine. Agree with that or don't. I came up in a time when in the ring, you listened, and if something wasn't working because the fans weren't reacting, you did something else. And if that didn't work, well, hell, you did something else. And if you stuck with what you had planned and it wasn't working, you were going to get your ass chewed the moment you got backstage. And the first person to chew your ass definitely was Vince McMahon. And that actually leads me to my next point.
But before you get to that point, we already addressed him. First and foremost, Paul Levesque, and I get it. It's not even about Paul Levesque. Vince McMahon sold it to TKO, but under TKO, Vince McMahon didn't allow this. But nonetheless, we have to acknowledge that it isn't completely Triple H's fault. It is just an open, public, traded company, and they gotta make the profit, you know, what it is. So, is it Vince McMahon's fault for selling it? Yes, but as the chairman of the WWE, I don't really know how much of that would have happened under Triple H. Vince McMahon. I don't know. Like, I would believe that it wouldn't have happened, but then again, you know, if TKO was the new owners, what is Vince McMahon going to say? But then again, it's still Vince McMahon, right? So, like, it's just one of those things. But another problem that Maven's going to touch on is, I believe, the in-ring work being too soft, like, softly received, right? I'll let him make his point, and I will show you guys a complete straight-up example.
Guarantee this will be controversial. Now, I don't think professional wrestling is a better product without Vince at the helm. Hold on. I'm well aware of...
Look, I'm sick and tired of people having to mention the allegations in the lawsuit every time they mention something positive linked to Vince McMahon. It's the same thing with Hulk Hogan. Oh my God, Hulk Hogan was an absolute legend, but then would he shit in his private life? Bro, ain't nobody care about that, bruh. Nobody talks about that. Like, can we stop, like, having to always talk about a negative before we give a positive? Just stick to the topic, bro. Maven, come on, bro. We all know what Vince did. You don't have to focus on that, bruh. Come on, make your point.
Of the allegations, and no part of me is insinuating that the WWE should bring Vince back. I don't think so, and I don't co-sign on anything he did. But Vince had two things going. One, he was an amazing businessman. Did he have some misses? Of course. You swing that many times in the business world, you're gonna miss occasionally. But second, and probably most important, Vince was a fan. Vince, like most wrestling fans, grew up around the business. He grew up watching his dad, and he grew up knowing how to put shows together. And remember, they started before entertainment was what it is today. I don't know who the decision makers are at TKO, but sometimes I feel as though their main driving force is the almighty dollar before the showmanship of professional wrestling. Yeah, they still have storylines, and obviously the wrestlers are still amazing.
But the product has failed. Thank you, Maven, for making this point. Under Vince McMahon, it was wrestling being its own thing. Vince McMahon was the biggest mark for wrestling. I mean, look at this clip right here.
What do you get to a certain level, you stop counting. And this feud with Hulk Hogan, is that real, or is that just like fake, like, you know?
We don't do anything fake.
Well, you know, wrestling is fake, though, right?
No. Where the hell have you been?
Come on,
What's the matter with you, huh? Wrestling is fake.
Well, you know what I mean.
I mean, he's trolling him, but like he's also like he's also being like dead serious as well. Like wrestling is fake. Like, come on, man. You know, the WWE at that point, right? You know, it was entertainment. We all know it's entertainment. The guy over here is just trying to be a smartass, and it's just like so annoying for somebody that's, you know, trying to do business, for people that want to actually, you know, speak on the same playing field, right? You always will have these maggots, you know, bottom feeders, you know, peasants that are, oh my God, the king didn't eat breakfast today. Wow, you know, he's so much like me, you know, like, you know, some BS like that, right?
I
don't know what you mean.
Well, it's entertainment.
And then he's like, I don't know what you mean. Like, what are you trying to even say? Like, what are you trying to say? Like, we're like, what we're doing here is a circus clown. Like, you know, like, I'm just here to amuse you. Like, what am I, like a clown to you? And what are you then? Like the opposite of like of a clown? You're the, like, you know, like the end all be all of like legitimacy. Come on, man. You're nothing, man. Stop being a goofball. Accept what it is. Wrestling is fake fighting, fake combat. It is coerced combat sports. You know, it is just an entertainment for it is like, what do you call it? It is body art, right? Performance art.
Entertainment. It's not real fighting, you know.
Not?
Oh, come on, Vince.
God, it's amazing.
What do you think of this press?
And then he's like laughing at like, oh my God, what a revelation! Like, you know, everybody knows this, you damn goofball.
How brilliant are you? Wait a minute now. You got to hold up and ask questions. You got to read off a piece
Well,
of paper
not
and ask
really, but
questions.
I mean, I just want to see if there's anything that I haven't answered.
There you go, man. Like, he's just going toe to toe with this guy, man. This guy is a total mark. And like today with like Triple H, I don't think he would do this, man. Like, he wasn't a cutthroat, entertaining guy. Like with Triple H, it's all hugs and kisses.
But are you amazed by all the white trash that comes out to see these shows?
We don't have any white trash, except for the president of the company.
Like, you would never see Vince McMahon or like Triple H do this, man. It's crazy, man. But what will you see Vince McMahon, Triple H do, man? This is just a prime example of like the type of guy that he is. And, you know, for better or worse, it is just the complete opposite of Vince McMahon. All right, this is a prime example here. This is WWE Unreal, right? And they're talking about Jey Uso fatiguing, gassing out, and like botching spots, right? Let's just take a look. Just make sure you need it. Like, the thing is this, I just have a feeling with Vince McMahon, like if this were to happen, right? And this guy's botching like only a few weeks out of WrestleMania, and he can't even dive off the top rope. And it's like, dude, what the hell's going on, bro? We are giving you this push, and you're just making a flop, and like you're just making us look bad. I just have a feeling if it was under Vince McMahon, like it just wouldn't be the case. I saw a clip from like Kevin Owens. I think it was just like a regular match. I don't even think Kevin Owens botched anything in that match. He goes backstage, and then he's like, Vince, are we okay? Are we good? And then Vince's like, oh no, you know, he's like, no, just like shakes his head, and then he's just like, all right, go away, right? So that's the difference.
I'm not saying that Hunter's not doing a good job. I think Hunter's doing a great job. I don't think.
Look, you know, if you won't say it, I'll say it. I don't think Triple H is doing a great job at all. We can blame TKO for ad placements. We can blame TKO for advertisement intrusion, you know, ad breaks and all that stuff. But he is still the head of creative, right? Everything we see on TV, plotline, storyline, matches, he is the head guy off of, you know. And there's nothing that stops him, prevents him from cooking the best storylines possible. There's no reason to fire or not re-sign Karrion Kross and Scarlett and give them a push instead of giving that same exact push to D-Lister Black and Zelina Goon, you know, whatever like her name is, man. You know, I try to make a Goon reference, but anyway, nonetheless, right? All these guys that have been buried, like, you know, Drew McIntyre, all the guys that just didn't go over. There is no reason for that to happen. LA Knight losing, you know, or like, you know, Seth Rollins winning the Money in the Bank, Seth Rollins being the face of the company. There is no reason for these poor decision making. It just doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter what TKO does because they don't tell Triple H, oh yeah, you know what I mean? Don't worry about booking this week. We'll book it for you. They don't tell him that.
I think anyone knows the wrestling business better than Hunter. Hunter has bosses. He has people that he reports to. And I don't know this to be true. I just know it is. I guarantee you Hunter would change and go back to where wrestling shows were more fan-driven, listening to the audience, having the audience just dictate where a match was going.
I mean, look, this is a clear reference of Maven, kind of showing his colors of not following the product. And the reality is, yeah, you know, you might say this to like make Triple H look good, but honestly speaking, I don't think Triple H thinks that like what he's doing is bad. And I think he's like, he thinks like, oh yeah, I'm just doing the best I can. And like, you know, fan engagement and all that stuff. I mean, bro, he has Yeet, he has Cody Rhodes, he has fan service. He literally said himself, like, you know, we can't have Cody Rhodes and all the big stars show up every single week, or they will lose aura. Like, come on, bro. You know, so I don't think that Triple H looks at it from that lens, because if he did, most stars will be on the shows.
And probably get away with all the glitz and the glam and the 15-minute entrances, and he would go back to that just rugged professional wrestling that...
I don't know about that, bro. I mean, Triple H is literally the guy that comes out with tanks and like those like big entrances and all that. Like, so he's a big entrance guy. So I don't know why Maven said this. He just said it to like make him look good a little bit. But you know, Maven, you know, I tried, you know, I see you tried to be nice, but it is just in vain.
We all, anyway, people of my age, grew up loving. But let's say that the WWE did a 180. Let's say they did an about face, and let's say they went back and had the wrestling that I grew up loving. Would I watch it then? No. And herein lies probably the ultimate truth of why I don't watch the WWE these days.
Because you're not involved in it anymore, Maven, you know, and that's what he's going to say as well in this video. He pretty much said, I'm not involved, that it hurts me every time I see it. It just reminds me of like, you know, the good times I used to have. And it's hard for me to be, you know, totally locked in. And I get that, right? I get that. I know that exact feeling when, you know, you have to abandon who you are, like a part of your identity that you just can't live with anymore. You know, it died, you know, that part of your identity died and it's gone. And every time that you're reminded of it, it just like stings your heart. I get it. And that is the ultimate reason why Maven doesn't watch anymore. But when he does watch, all the points that he made are valid. I'm the heels advocate.